Okay, so this is it still kind of follows the process, but it streamlines it for um telesales. It just simplifies everything because
Alrighty.
you don't have the luxury, right, of being right in front of them. Okay.
Correct.
So um and by the way, dude, we never get here if you didn't hit the phone. So kudos to you. Okay. So you're making stuff happen. And even with the toughest time of year, um, you're still getting people to want to at least sit down with you. So let me ask you this question though first. Are they uh like how many like are you booking them within 6 to 12 hours? Or
Yeah, I
okay.
try them if
Oh,
they free time right now, and if they don't, then yeah, within 12 hours.
okay, that's cool. And then what is your show rate?
Right now it's like this week it's horrible. Honestly, it's 6, 8. Uh, I had 12 appointments and my show rate was 5, so it's not crazy, but
Yeah,
um,
5 out of 12. So okay, so that's kind of in general telesale appointments. It's about a 50% no-show. So 5 out of 12 showed up. Okay. And then you closed one of those?
no, I haven't closed. There's a couple that are up in the air that I'm still working with
Okay.
that are policies.
Okay, that's cool. Okay. All right. So, not terrible for a brand new person.
All
So,
right.
so one thing that I would do is double book. Like, don't be afraid to double book people. Okay. Because of what you've experienced. And, the likelihood of both of them showing up is lower percentage, right? Because if you average a 40% show rate, if you double book, you know, the fact the fact that it's a 40% show rate, not very likely, right? That someone's not that both of them will show up. More likely that both of them won't show up, or at least one will show up, right?
Yep.
So I would encourage you not to don't worry about double booking. Because one thing about no showing someone on a telesale is that they're just going to forget about it. They're going to just like, oh, well, I guess he got busy or something, right? They kind of do to us what we do to them. It's like, oh, they probably forgot that I was going to call them, right? But they're not as emotionally involved in it as agents tend to be, right? It's just how people are a lot of times anyway. Even though you close them hard, you know. So I don't know that I'd be too hung up on double booking.
Alrighty.
Okay, so just kind of go through this. We the mentality is they're home all day. Okay, so you can book a lot of appointments because you tend to find final expense people home. Okay, if they're going to pick up the phone, right?
Yep.
The other benefit about final expense is that really you're only going to show them 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. It's not like mortgage protection where you've got a lot of different ways to skin the cat. Here, all they want to do is get money to help bury them. So it's not nuts. Okay. That's why it's a little more simple for brand new agents. You get renewals on whole life, so that's a good thing. And then final expense leads are easier to get than mortgage protection. Mortgage protection is way expensive. So this is why we've really kind of, helped our agents get started with final expense because it's easier. And then when you're selling a product like Great Western, right, you have all three versions of a product that'll cover anybody. So you can cover someone who's super healthy to someone who's super sick in one product. So again, that's an advantage. Now, common mistakes, and these are mistakes a lot of times when agents prejudge clients based on where they live. Now, this is more relevant to people, agents going into the home because you'll go into a, not so good part of town and you automatically assume they can't afford it. When that's not really a great assumption because there are people that they may not look like they can afford it, but they're all about life insurance. So, you just when you're doing telesales, you tend not you don't have that kind of in your mind because you're not going up to their home, but you could prejudge by zip code. Like if you know, or yeah, zip code. So if you know a zip code is typically at the poor side of town, that's the only thing that can kind of sneak into your head that could be that could influence you. So, try not to really prejudge them.
Alrighty.
Confusing clients. So keep the language simple form. You're brand new, so brand new agents tend to do that anyway. So kind of an example is, not saying, okay, this is a whole life policy. No, you have to kind of translate that for an average client, to this policy is good till the day you die. Okay. So instead of saying this is a whole life policy, it's better to say this policy will be good to the day you die, or this will last your entire life. So you don't have to worry about this ending at a certain point in time, as long as you keep making your premium payment, right? So you're really trying to simplify the language for them. Okay, this one, don't be their friend. Okay, so don't overemphasize bond and rapport, although I find that agents really do not do this anyway. So you want to make sure that you can develop trust with them so that, they understand that you're a decent person, and it's good to ask about them. So in the telesale situation, you're kind of, you are getting down to business, but it doesn't hurt to say, hey, this is Alex, how y'all doing? It's been busy this Christmas time, that kind of thing. So is it cold where you're at? Like, I mean, if you're calling Colorado leads, like you're Colorado, right?
No, I'm in Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Well, still cold. But wherever you're calling them, is it cold out there where you're at? Here, I look at my weather app and, it's 32 degrees. At least it's not snowing. Is it cold where you're at? Like small talk like that, chit chat seems to work. Anyway, how's your day going? That kind of thing. But, if they made their appointment with you and they're there, then hey, there's some level of interest. So you got to hang your hat on that, but you got to at least give them some level of idea that that you're there to help them. Okay, and this is where like some of the stuff on the about me page when you talk about yourself, um, you can tell them, you share with them, okay, now I'm a licensed life insurance agent, and my job is to help you and Mary take care of this. Um, I'm licensed here in Colorado. My license, you can even go into nerdy. So like, my license number, something you can, I will text you my license so you can see my license. So you know that I'm a licensed life insurance agent in Colorado, in Michigan, that kind of thing. And you could text them a copy of your license. That's where I find a little bit of credibility that you can gain with them by texting that so that they can see that, you are legit, and that they can look you up on the Department of Insurance website. So that's a little bit of credibility on your side that you can give them. Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay. So um, this is where you get into pain finding. You could do a little bit of upfront contract here. Like, so the upfront contract on a telesale sounds something like, now look, my job is to, you had contacted, you filled out a form online, and then you were contacted by David or whomever. And just to make sure that, we knew that you legitimately had an interest in final expense. My job is basically give you the information and help you out. And, if there's nothing I can do for you, if there's just, there's no match here as far as what you're looking for and what I can offer you, then it's okay to tell me no. All right. So it's okay to tell me no. Is that okay for you guys? And the whole idea of the upfront contract is to make them feel like they're in control. Okay. That you're not going to be a jerk salesperson. But that's where you just establish totally that, if I can't help you, I can't help you. But if I can help you, then I'm going to ask you a number of questions to make sure that I can, really understand what you're looking for. Does that sound good to you, Joe and Mary? And then you don't respond. Wait until they say, yeah, that's okay. And this is where they give you permission to get started. Okay. Like it gives them the sense that you are really following a process, that you are going to help them if there is something there that you can help them with, but they can say, no, this is not for them. They're in control. So that's the whole idea behind the upfront contract. And that only takes about a minute. Okay. Now, this setup question here gets you into pain finding. Okay. So Joe and Mary, Joe and Mary or Joe, usually you're talking to one person, right? You don't typically have both on the phone, which is kind of a disadvantage because the spouse is not there. But, Joe, when people fill out these forms online, okay, and so you're going to have to modify it for the type of lead, right? Because it did start out with an online form that they filled out. Hey, Joe, when people fill these forms out online, it's usually because of one of three things. Either they don't have any life insurance at all, or they have some life insurance, but it's not enough to cover their burial. And then the third reason is they want to leave their kids or grandkids a little bit of money just to, help them out. So which one of these three reasons are you? And then you just shut up, okay, and let them answer the question. It's the most simple pain finding get started question that you can ever get because you're giving them a choice, one of three choices. So this is where you got to really slow down so they understand the three choices. Okay. And you can even repeat yourself because, when you're dealing with older people, sometimes you have to repeat yourself. So you can say something like, so let me run those three choices again. The reason why most people fill out these forms and send them back to us is number one, they don't have any life insurance at all. Number two, they have some life insurance, but it's not enough to take care of any kind of burial or any expenses related to burial. Or number three, they want to leave their children or grandchildren, a little bit of money to help them get started in life. So those three reasons, which one of those do you relate with, or which one of those are you? And then you shut up and let them answer the question. Like you don't say another word. Okay.
All righty.
It's a powerful technique called silence. Okay. Silence is one of the most powerful closing techniques. So you're not yapping, because, selling is not telling, right? Selling is about asking questions. Okay. Then you move to the next pain question, which is finding out who the beneficiary is, who the loved one that they're trying to protect. Because look, the pain finding is about who they love. It's not about, and who they want to make sure it doesn't have the problem of having to, pick up the pieces financially. And so this next question, again, is the second kind of major pain question. So paint me a picture, Joe. When you die tomorrow, you can say when you die, and let's say it's tomorrow, who has to pick up the pieces for you to make sure that, that you're buried and everything's taken care of? And then again, shut up. Don't ask another question until they answer that question. Oh, my son, my daughter, blah, 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 right? Or my spouse. Oh, okay. And what's their name? So, dude, you have to get their name, right? And what's their name? Oh, my son, David. Oh, okay. Cool. David, how old is David? Oh, he's 42. Oh, wow. Okay. So David's the one that can take care of all your arrangements then. Is that correct? Yeah, he is. And so sounds to me like you want to make sure that he's not going to have to come out of pocket with paying for a funeral, right? Like start exploring that. Yeah, I want to make sure. Now, let me ask you, Joe, do you know how much funerals cost these days? Dude, sometimes they don't know. Like last time they buried their parents was 20 years ago, right? And so I want to know if they know. And they're going to say, well, I don't know, maybe $10,000. Yeah, if you want to be put in a pine box. Okay. But, the full blown burial, if you're looking for a casket burial, is anywhere from, 15,000 to 25,000. But you can probably get away with 10,000. Now, is that where you want? Is that what you were wanting? Were you wanting a casket type burial, or would a cremation be okay? Because cremation, you're looking cremation 5,000, 7,500. Is that something that's more affordable, you think, for you? Because, this coverage is based on, you know, how much you want to make sure your son David is going to have to bury you. And then let him answer the question, cremation or casket, right?
Yep.
So that'll give you, now you're narrowing it down. And when you start narrowing it down, it's like, okay, so just so I understand, you want to make sure David has 7,500, around 7,500, to make sure that he can cover the costs of a cremation funeral for you. Is that right? Am I hearing you right? Right. You're just like nailing them down for what they want.
Alrighty.
Now, here's the playbook for old people. They've been told to watch for scams, and they're on a fixed income. So budget's concerned, right? So, yeah, the three things. So this is, some of them have bought term policies that have ended, and they were surprised because they thought it was going to go the rest of their life. And it's not the fault of the agent. The agent probably told them this is only going to be 30 years or 20 years or 10 years. But, it's funny. The older you get, and I get this all the time, dude, people think that the policy is going to last forever, Okay. So, and then they're watching TV and they got all these commercials that talk about all these different policies. So this is how you get into really getting into explaining, the advantages of the product, right? Because you're going to answer these concerns in advance. Okay. So once you find out that you're going to take care of David, his son, it's like, then you kind of talk about, okay, Joe, so let me explain, basically what the process here is. Let me start with the product that you're going to be that we're going to cover you with. Now, once you understand this program is going to be good until the day you die. Okay. It doesn't end when you hit the age of 80. It doesn't end when you hit 85. It doesn't end when you hit 90. You live to 120, this policy will be in place. Okay. Does that make sense? So this will be good your entire life. Okay. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand that? Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. Now here's the other thing. The rate that I quote you, that you decide on, that you are willing to pay and that you can afford, that rate will stay the same rate for the entire period of time. It never goes up. Okay. Does that make sense to you? So you don't have to worry about this thing ever being priced more over time. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Now here's the other thing. The death benefit that you choose to give David, so if you choose 15,000, when you die, the insurance company is going to cut a check for 15,000, whether you die tomorrow or you die 30 years from now. It will be $15,000. So the death benefit never decreases. Okay. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Now, Joe, I'm sure you've heard all these things on the radio and TV that you can get $100,000 of protection for $10 a month, right? Like, it's just sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Have you heard those kind of, radio and TV ads on insurance? And you just shut up and let them answer the question. Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Okay. Typically, let me educate you on that. When they quote a large amount of insurance for a small price. It's typically accidental death insurance. Okay. Now, what I want you to understand with this policy is designed to pay no matter how you die. You die of heart attack, stroke, cancer, the top three things that people die from. Okay. It'll pay out. All right. So it's not only going to pay out in case of an accident, it'll pay no matter what your cause of death. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So now you've told them about the product, you've answered the typical objections or the things that people have been told to watch out for. Okay. Now, this is where you get into the budget step. Okay. So it's easy to transition after talking that into budget. Now, my job is to get this into your budget. Look, if you can't afford it, Joe, then you're not going to keep it, right? So my job is to make sure you can afford it. So I'm going to give you 3 different premium options. And what I will need to know from you is the one that you feel the most comfortable making a payment each month. Okay. Now I know you probably might want David to get the most amount of money, but we don't want you to stretch your budget because you're on probably a fixed income, right? Yeah, I'm on a fixed income. Okay. So I want to make sure, so if I ever show you an option that's way too much out of your budget, you're going to tell me that's too expensive. Okay. I hope you would tell me that. You're not just going to say, tell me, no, this isn't going to work. You're going to tell me that's too expensive. Then I could find another option that can work. We can lower the death benefit so that we can find it amount that will fit your budget. So does that make sense, Joe? Yeah. Okay. Now we go into the decision process. Again, this follows the ATM, but this is the streamlined version for final expense that you can do on a telesale. Okay. Now, all we're going to do today is find the best program that fits your needs and budget. Now, once we do that, we're going to fill out a request for coverage form, and then we're going to send it into the insurance carrier to see if you qualify. So today, it's not the time to think about it because there's nothing to think about until we know that you qualify. See, the insurance company has to think about you first. Okay. Now, Joe, if they do decide to cover you, then what they're going to do is they're going to assemble the policy, they're going to pop it in the mail, and then they're going to send it to you. And then when you receive it, that's the point when you get to think about it. And then I'm going to give you a call and we're going to go over the policy. Okay. Now you at that point can decide, hey, I really can't afford more, so we can raise the coverage. Or you can decide, you know what, that initial amount that I chose, that was really kind of pushing it. Maybe we can find something cheaper. And then that I can help you with that. Okay. So we can help you afford more coverage, or we can drop the coverage down to a lower amount so that you can afford it. But at least when you think about it, at least you know that you have the policy and it's been approved. Okay. So you're in total control. Okay. So are you good with that? Are you good with me giving you 3 different options? You're going to pick an option, and then we're going to use that to apply for it to see if you qualify. So today is not, or tonight's not a think about it time yet. Does that make sense, Joe? Yeah, that makes sense. Boom. Then you go and, ask them the health questions, whatever, get the 3 premium options, do the electronic application. Okay, so yeah, so you're getting their health info. Okay, Joe, give me a few minutes to come up with the right company for you. I leave them on hold. I don't put them on hold. I just stay on there. I chit chat with them. Like once you get good at this, you can chit chat with them while you're coming up with these options. Okay. And then you give them the 3 out. Okay, Joe, do you got a pencil or paper and paper? Okay, now I'm going to give you option number 1. Okay, option number 1, okay, is $5,000 of benefits. So so David doesn't have to come up with all the money to bury you. and that's going to be $52 a month. Okay. That's option one. Okay. Again, that price will never go up. The death benefit of 5,000 will never go down, and it's good through your entire life. Now, option two is 10,000. Okay. So 10,000 will go to David when you die, and that 10,000 will be $112 a month, and that price will never go up, and that 10,000 will never go down. Then finally, option number three is 15,000, and that'll be $150 a month. Again, $150 a month will stay that way, and then the 10,000, 15,000 will never drop down. Okay. So you have that. Did you write those down, Joe? Yeah, I did. Okay. So tell me, which is the price that you can best afford, that you know that you can make that payment month after month, year after year until you die, so that David gets that amount of coverage to bury you? And then just shut up and let him answer the question. Oh yeah, well, people typically pick the middle option. Well, 10,000 sounds about like what I can afford. Okay, so you can afford $112 a month every month until you die. Like that's totally comfortable for you. Yeah, that's comfortable. Okay, you sure? I mean, we can do the $52 a month one. At David will get $5,000. Okay, I'm sure that's more affordable. I know what you're doing is you're trying to downsell him. Okay. But it's kind of works sometimes the opposite, because then he'll justify even further. No, I could do 112. I want to have 10,000. Okay. You sure? I do not want you to call me, 2 weeks from now and tell me you can't afford 112. You can do
Right.
112. Like I'm really, because it's a telesale, right? I want him to know I'm concerned that he can afford it, but at the same time, I want to make sure I don't get a charge back. All right. So you're good with that. Yeah, I am. I'm good with that. Okay. So let me open up the electronic application and we're going to apply for this. So I'm going to re-ask you some of the health questions, and then we'll get this done, and then we'll get this signed through texting or voice, whatever, whichever one of the apps you're using. Okay. And then you're writing it up. You've written an electronic app already, right?
Right.
Okay. So you're going through that process. Okay. And then the post sale, after you're done writing it up and you got everything done, and like I said, this is where you can also do the ERS, the emergency contact list, after getting the beneficiary information. Okay, so I'm not going to go over that right now, but it's where you get some names that, of people that would contact you when the guy dies, right? Now, the post sale is when you talk about, you just lock it down some more. It's like, okay, Joe, do you feel comfortable with $112 a month to provide David with the money to cover your final expenses? You're good with that? Yeah, I am. Okay, so Christmas is coming. You're probably going to pay a few more bills, credit card bills, because you spent for Christmas for your family. Now, when you see this 112 being drafted out of your account next month, are you going to call me and tell me you want to cancel it because it's too much? And you just wait for him to answer the question. Okay. And how he answers it will help you determine if it's too expensive. Okay, because you give them a chance to think about it again. If they hesitate, I'd go back to the $52 option, or, something in between.
Alrighty.
Okay, great. I'll let you. Okay. So he says, no, I can do that. Okay, great. I'll let you know if the policy is approved. Okay. I will call you, let you know the policy is approved, and when you should expect to arrive at your home, or I'll call you back and tell you if it's not approved. I'll let you know that too. All right. You got any questions for me? No. All right, great. Okay, now what I'm going to do, Joe, I know you may not have questions now, but maybe in a couple of days you're going to have questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you back in a couple of days. I want you to, take my number down again, so you know it's me that's calling you. Okay. You got a pen, take that pen. Here's my number. My name's Alex. I'm going to give a call back in a couple days. So if you have any questions, I want you to write it down. So when I call you back, you can answer me those questions. All right. Now, this is where you call him back in a couple days just to make sure he's still going to keep his policy. Because when you call him back, he's going to tell you, you know what, Alex, I don't want it anymore. Oh, I'm confused. And then what happened between now and then? Oh, I talked to my son. He said he's going to take care of everything. Oh, really? Well, I'm not surprised. You know how kids are, right? They're going to, but here's the deal, Joe. You know that the best gift is the one they don't expect, right? So can you imagine after you die, he gets a check for $10,000 he wasn't expecting? How do you think that'll make him feel? That you cared about him, that you didn't want him to pay for, the funeral? Wouldn't that make you feel good, even though you're in heaven? Wouldn't that make you feel good that he got a check for $10,000? So, let me ask you, wouldn't it make sense just to keep it? I'm gonna like go back to the reason why he wanted to do it in the first place, right? And I'm gonna lean on the fact that, his children aren't gonna want to make it because they feel guilty, right? Children feel guilty that they're benefiting off your death. It's just how kids are.
Yeah.
And sometimes, look, you got to be the parent, you got to be the daddy. And even though they don't want to feel like they're benefiting off it because they want to tell you that, you know what? Why don't you give them the gift anyway? Does that make sense to you, Joe? Give them the gift anyway? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So that's how you kind of lock it down. And when it comes to telesales, dude, you have to be ready to call them like 5 different times, to make sure that everything's good. Hey, you got any questions for me? Hey, just want to let you know it's still in underwriting, hasn't been issued yet. Call them back. Hey, good news, Joe. It got approved. You should be receiving it in the next week. I'll check back with you to see if you received it. Call them back again. Hey, did you get your policy? No? Okay, I'll check with the company, see when you should get it. Hey, did you get it? Oh, you got it? Okay, great. Let's open it up. Are you comfortable with 112 a month? Still good for you, right? Now, again, if you open up, go to the first pages, you're going to see a summary of your benefits. It's going to say, David is going to get $10,000. You see that? And it's going to be 112 bucks a month. Do you see the summary of benefits page? Yeah, I see it. Okay, good. Okay, now if you page through there at the end, it'll be a copy of your application. You're going to see an electronic version of your signature. Okay, so I want you to know up front that don't expect your signature because you didn't sign anything, but you signed electronically. Okay, so when you look at the application, don't freak out. Like, let's go to the back of do you see in the back of the policy, there's a copy of your application. It's all digital, Okay, so I don't want you to freak out. Is that cool? Okay, yeah. Good. Dude, and that's it. Okay, so this is the Streamlined ATM. And so this is the one I'd recommend, because now you're getting in front of them. But really, if there's anything to amp up, it's the loved one that they're trying to take care of, right? And then it's locking down that premium. And then again, the most important part is that they trust you at the beginning. Okay.
Right.
So you got to be very nurturing and you seem like a really cool guy, right? So I don't think you're going to have any problem with that part, people, feeling that you're genuinely wanting to help them out, right? So does that make sense?
100%. I'll give her a shot.
Okay, I'll send this to you directly, and then I'm going to upload this because that slide, didn't realize that slide was still in there, but I will re-upload it, but I'll send it directly to you so you have it. Then I'll send you a copy of this video. All right.
Pretty awesome. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. Rock on, man. See you later.
Thanks.